Hey gang, welcome back. I'm going to show you how I made my vegan strawberry birthday cake with strawberry filling and strawberry cream cheese. Here I'm just showing you some things I got from Amazon. I will link them below to decorate the cake. I thought those candles were going to be more gold than silver, but it all worked out because it's just whimsical. So how can you be mad at anything that sparkles when you're doing something whimsical? Also, these nails that I am wearing, or that I constructed, or however you want to say it, I was gonna say that video is up. It's not up. It will be up. So if you're interested in knowing how I did my birthday nails, that's coming as well. So I have these pearl sprinkles that are almost like jawbreakers, so don't just chomp down on them. This rose gold luster spray, the I was gonna say strawberry, the butterflies, the color mill dye, the candles, and the little topper. And now I'm just showing you how I made the puree to go in the cake batter. So I used about I used about 1.5 bags of frozen 12-ounce strawberries, and then I added a little bit of apple juice, and then I just let it stew until it got soft, and then I used the masher and let it stew a little bit longer. Also, this isn't necessarily a recipe video. I looked at about 6 vegan cake recipes, and then I didn't exactly freestyle it, but I've been baking a while. So I knew what I wanted to increase and decrease and or emit. But I will say that if you're looking for a vegan strawberry cake recipe, Nora Cooks and the Banana Diaries, they are very good at making things that actually taste good. So the last clip I was just showing you all the different ingredients that are going in, and now I'm going to cream my butter and sugar. So I have butter, oil, sugar. Did I add the vanilla yet? I didn't add the vanilla yet. So here I would actually suggest to do this with a hand mixer or a stand mixer. There's the vanilla. I didn't, because my stand mixer bowl is so deep that it won't catch the stuff, especially this, because once you combine the butter with the sugar, it kind of goes flat. So I did it by hand. It works both ways, but it does change the density of your final cake. So it won't be as fluffy. There is a couple drops of the color mill dye. It won't be as fluffy and I guess they say tender in the cake industry. It's just a little more dense, which for this it really didn't matter. It came out tasting almost like a strawberry cheesecake. So anyways, here we have I believe it is the flour, the baking powder, the salt, and yeah, that's it. So those are combining, and then in thirds I'm adding the cooled stewed strawberry puree, the milk, I'm using cashew milk, and the creamed butter and sugar together. And then I'm trying to make sure that I don't over mix my batter, because then your cake won't rise at all, and also it'll start to quote unquote activate the gluten in the flour and kind of make your cake like bread instead of cake. Also, I'm using cake flour and not traditional flour, so I use King Arthur's cake flour. So I just mix that up. And then here I'm showing you my cake tins. These are 6-inch rounds, I believe. I oiled them and put some little parchment in the bottom. And around them I have these bake right strips. So you soak them in water and then you put them around your pan so that your cake doesn't get that big dome on the top, and the edges are done before the center, and then you end up having to cut off half of the dome because you can't layer your cake with that big dome on the top. So these make them bake more even, and they're more moist throughout instead of kind of crispy edges and then dome top. So you can see here that they baked flat. I don't even have to level them off. So now I'm showing you the cream cheese frosting. Excuse me. So here I'm using the stand mixer because as this does what it does, the cream cheese is thick and high enough to catch the blades, as opposed to the creamed butter and sugar earlier. I do wish at this point I would have just fought with the mixer and creamed the butter and the sugar in the mixer, because it would have changed the texture of my cake, but it's fine. It was delicious, but yeah, just a note. So in that I used butter, powdered sugar, vanilla, and freeze-dried strawberries, and I just crushed them with the back of my kitchen shears until they were kind of dust but still had a little bit of chunks in there. And then I'm going to add here, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, some milk. Yeah, okay. So I could tell it was a little bit too thick, so I added some milk. And I just go back and forth with how much volume it creates, as well as how thick it is for spreading purposes. And I just go back and forth with that, with the milk and the sugar, until I get it where I want it. So again, like I said, this isn't really a recipe, guys. I just do whatever. But really, seriously, if you need an actual recipe, Nora Cooks and Banana Diaries, they have great recipes. So I'm just mixing here and getting it to the consistency and the volume that I want, because I want to make sure I have enough, because for the design of cake I'm doing, you're doing these like ribbons or up and down waves on the side, and you need the frosting to be thick enough to push into. So these are the cakes after they have been cooled, and then I let them cool completely, and then I wrapped them and put them in the refrigerator overnight. So this is the only thing I did not make. I didn't make the filling between the layers, the jam. And jam is more thick than the puree that I made. It takes longer to reduce it down to jam consistency, and I just wasn't in the mood for all that. So I'm going to unwrap the cakes, stack them in between each layer. I'm going to make a little dam to keep the jam from spilling out. There I just put a little bit at the bottom to try to keep the layer from moving, but I will soon have to add some stability in there with some, supposed to be cake dowels. I didn't have any. You can also use those big like smoothie straws. Also didn't have any, so I had to use skewers that you would make like vegetable skewers with. It worked for this purpose, but they are very hard to find on your end product when you're cutting the cake, so I don't suggest doing that. So anyways, I made the little dam, and I'm going to put the filling on top. Now you can completely cover your cake layer. Like I left the middle where there was no icing. That just is gonna allow the strawberry juices from the jam to soak into the cake. So if you don't want that, then I would completely ice each layer instead of just making the dam around the side. On this layer, I ran out of frosting, so I kind of had to makeshift it, but it was all right. But that side that's, well, it was just closest to the camera. There's one side that is pretty thin, and yeah, I think the dam broke as we went on, but it's all good. So as you can see, I started icing the cake and I quickly saw that it was going to be moving all over the place, and I didn't want to have to hold it. Even though you kind of have to bounce it a little bit, but I didn't want to have to be clearly totally responsible for it staying centered. So I went to find my dowels, which I didn't have, so I used some vegetable skewers, they're skewers. Look, they are skewers for anything, but because I'm vegan, they're vegetable skewers for me. And as you can see, my dam broke in the icing is releasing the strawberry jam, but I was like, you know what, it is what it is, and we just spackled right on over it. So now I'm just gonna get a thick layer on all the sides and the top so that I have enough to scrape it off and kind of make it smooth. Of course, it's not gonna be like glass smooth because there's chunks of strawberry in it, but I just need it smooth enough to be able to do the wave detail I'm looking for. And then I am flattening out the top. I couldn't decide if I wanted like the raw edge on the top, the round edge, or a like crisp edge, but I kind of just went with something in between. And then I'm going to use the side of my scraper to make those little wavy indentions. And then I didn't capture it here. They weren't as defined as I want them, so I took the offset spatula that I was using to ice the cake, and I used that to make them a little more defined. So I was just talking over it, but what is happening here, I sprayed the first spray, and as I sprayed it, the AC came on and just took all of the glitter spray all over the place. I'm sure that my lungs are kind of rose gold at this moment. I started using my shirt as a mask, but yeah, this should come with a warning. It was fun though, and it's very, very pretty, but there was dust everywhere. My skin was glowy that day, so I guess that's that's good. And there will be a shot coming up where I'll show you the table, like how the table looked. It was very fairy-like, which I guess is the point. Yeah, so you can see here, like it was a happy fairy wonderland in my little dining area, but the cake was very pretty. It of course looked better in person because you can see all the dimension in the sparkle. So now I'm doing the sprinkles, and all these different size sprinkles came in that one jar, so I had to separate them because of course all the small sprinkles pretty much sank to the bottom and the big ones were on top. So yeah, that was an adventure. And then the process of applying these, you kind of have to just like throw them at the cake. So if you're throwing 12, there's probably 4 to 6 that missed the cake or bounced off. So yeah, I had to do a lot of vacuuming. And when I was vacuuming, it reminded me of the little kid vacuums that have the little balls that make the little sound, because that's what my vacuum sounds like now. Hilarious. And then I went and got some tweezers because my nails kept hitting the cake trying to put these medium-sized balls on. So I needed something to hold it up to the cake so I could push it onto the cake. It was tedious to say the least, but yeah. And also I did this cake over 2 days. So I did the batter and baking, puree and all that on one day, and then I did the decor and assembly the next day. I don't think I mentioned that. I used to do it all in one day, like start early in the morning so the cake could cool enough for me to ice by the evening, but I'm not set up like that. We need to give ourselves grace. That's just too much, y'all. So yeah, I'm just getting everything how I wanted. I wanted some more of those little itty bitty ones, which kept going to the bottom of this bowl, which is exactly what was happening in the jar. And now I'm just doing the assembly, trying to get the butterflies how I want them. And I'll have to insert a photo of my inspiration from Pinterest of how I wanted the cake to look. Because that's what I was looking at as I was placing my butterflies on. And this is the finished product. It's been in the refrigerator and it's all set up. It took a lot of work to clean all that glitter off that plate, just so everyone knows. But yes, it was beautiful. It came out exactly how I wanted it to, and here it is the day after that with the candles on there. And like I said, I wanted them to be gold, or I thought they were like gold and silver sparkly, but with the theme, I mean, you really couldn't be mad at it. So yeah, it was beautiful. I really enjoyed it. And then this is it with all of the things taken off so we can cut it. Just wanted to show you the jam in between. And yeah, there we go. Thanks for watching. Bye.